everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Lizzie. I don't feel like I ever really introduced myself, but I go by Lizzie. So hello if you're new here, and thanks for subscribing. I have been really wanting to do a video, and I saw some other people do it. I believe I've seen Riley Marie do this before, and I really liked it, where she picks up 3 or 4 different books that she might not have gravitated to off of her shelf to try the first 3 chapters to decide whether or not she's going to DNF it. So, which if you're not aware, DNF means did not finish or do not finish. I have a cabinet over here across the way that has books from the shelf that I pulled off that I really had no intention of probably reading and wavering between getting rid of or not. So, the challenge today is to pick out at least 3 of them to read and read the first 3 chapters and see what I think. And if I want to continue them, perhaps, I doubt I'll do it to, I don't think I would actually try to continue them now, but in the near future, if I decide to. So, let's dive in. Okay, after perusing what was down there, I picked out 3. I feel like they're vastly different books from each other, so this is going to be an adventure, but let me show you. And to be honest with you, I'm not going to give a synopsis right now because I don't even know what they're about. So, the first one is a romance. Hello, Milo. This one is The Dark Heroine by Abigail Gibbs. I think it's Dinner with a Vampire. That's what it says on the front. I think it's a vampire romance. So I've had it. I got it, I think, at a used bookstore one time, and I thought it looked good. And by looked good, I mean it was... Is it a cover buy? Not really. I don't really know. Maybe because it said the sexiest romance you'll read all year, and I'm into some good romance. So that's book number 1. Let's see how it holds up to my favorite romances. Book number 2. This is the Falling Kingdoms series that I have never read. It's by Morgan Rhodes. I got this one also at a used bookstore. I feel like this is very I would compare it, not knowing anything about it, mind you, to a series similar to Throne of Glass or the Truth Witch series. Kind of just an epic. It seems to follow, it looks like from the back, it says that it's the eve of war, choose your side. Princess, rebel, sorceress, or heir. So I do tend to really like those types of books. I have heard good things about this. I've just never actually picked it up. No fault of its own. I just never have. And I think I honestly have 4 of these books. So it would probably be solid to actually read them. So yeah, so there's that one. And then the last one was really a wild card. I got this in a fake rate. And when I looked it up, shockingly, the Goodreads was, and mind you, this was a year ago, so I'll try to recheck what the Goodreads rating is and plop it right here. But it was really good. It was solid upper 4s out of 5. So this one is Collateral Damage, and it looks kind of like a comic book. It's got nice edges, and it is by, who is this by? Taylor Simmons. It is supposedly really good. I think it has superhero comic book vibes. Zuko, do you have to climb on that? Oh, my cats. I feel like it has some superhero vibes. So I actually have kind of always wanted to pick this up. I just never have. It's never been a top priority. So let's make it a priority today. I feel like that's what this video is about. So I'm going to read let's see. Let's see how many chapters I'm going to read. Oh, wow. I think I have this book plate. I have the book plate in here. I've never put that in there. Let's see. Oh, wow. It has really nice. It's a nice book. I will say from the fake rate one, it's a really nice, there might be some photo, some pictures in here. I say we read the first 3 to 4 chapters of each book and see how we're feeling, what the vibe is. So where should we start? 1, 2, or 3? I say we start with Falling Kingdoms because I feel okay. Let's hold on And let's say what I think I'm not going to like, what I do think, let's rank here. I think I will like Fallen Kingdoms the most. I actually think I'm going to like the vampire romance the least. Like, I think I'll DNF that. That is where I'm thinking. And I actually think I'm going to really enjoy this. And I feel like I'll finish this one first. So while it won't be my, like, favorite of the three, I think that I would want to continue with this one maybe the most and finish it quicker than the other ones. So that's where we're falling. And then by the end of this video, let's find out, after reading the first 3 chapters, if I still believe what I said. That's what we're going to do. Okay, let's do it. Let's do this. Fallen Kingdoms. What treasures do you hold? What kingdom is falling? All of them? That's my question. Are all the kingdoms falling? And we all have to team up. Interesting. Crap, what do I do if there's a prologue? Does that count towards the chapters because there's a prologue? It does not. Good grief, there is like cast of characters. I can't learn all of this in one sitting. Okay. I do love it when the text is large. Makes it feel like I read faster. Okay, so I just read the prologue plus 3 chapters of Fallen Kingdoms. I'm intrigued. I definitely feel like my assessment of this was spot on. We're following 4 different like people, or 4 different kids essentially. Like, they're all under 18 or 18 and below. And they're each from a different kingdom. I think there's 3 kingdoms, if I'm not mistaken. Hello, this is Lizzie from the future, aka like 6 hours later. I was editing this video and just realized that something happened with that clip. And a lot of it is very slow. Like, it all of a sudden, like, I went into slow-mo. And I don't really know what happened, but obviously I didn't get to finish telling you about my review of Fallen Kingdoms and what's going on with that. So, here we are. Let's go through that once again. And I'll try to recall what all I said in that clip that I now is corrupt. So, essentially, we're following 4 different people: a sorceress, an heir, a rebel, and a princess. Yeah, so we're following all of them. We've met them all in some capacity. There's going to be spoilers in this, so please be aware. They all have kind of like run into each other in some way. Like, their lives are kind of intertwined, which is very interesting. Some of them have met. They like all haven't met each other, but some of them are in each other's lives. So, for instance, the sorceress, I have not actually been in her head yet, but we definitely met her in the prologue. And then she is living in the same, like, I think she's technically she is a princess in her own kingdom. But she would be considered the sorceress. She is supposedly part of this, like, prophecy that they think is going to come to pass, because it seems like magic is slowly, like, coming out of each of these kingdoms, and they're hoping that Lucia is the way to stop that. So she was kind of like picked from birth in like a prophecy situation, like stolen from her mom because they knew that she holds the key to whatever this like magic source is. So anyway, she and Magnus, who is the heir, live together. And here's the plot point that I hate. Magnus has feelings for her, even though he knows he should not, because it's his sister. Granted, they are not actually related.
So it's like the whole, like, here we are back in Shadowhunters in 2008, and I hate my life. Like, I cannot stand brother-sister tropes, like fake brother-sister, whatever you want to call it. I can't stand that trope. It's like my least favorite one. I'm intrigued enough to continue reading it. Like, it's not going to stop me from reading it, but I can't stand that trope. So I don't know too much about Magnus beyond the fact that he has feelings for his adopted sister that he doesn't know is adopted. That's the thing. Like, he has no idea that she's not actually his sister. So he thinks his feelings are, like, really bad. And I mean, if she was, I mean, that might not be great. So anyway, that's that. And then the princess is kind of spoiled, but not necessarily. Like, I don't know too much about her yet, beyond that she has a secret, that she is carrying this secret, and she is traveling with this guy who's kind of an asshole, and he knows whatever her secret is and kind of holds it over her head, so she feels like she can't say anything. And he ends up, like, God, he's like a pompous just asshole, and he ends up murdering somebody in this first section. And kind of like, it's almost like a catalyst in some way, because the guy that he actually ends up murdering is the rebel's brother. The rebel is not considered a rebel yet, but I want to say this is like the catalyst that probably like jumpstarts him into action. So anyway, I mean, we get a lot in these first 4 chapters. Obviously, I just like spewed 3 minutes worth of plot points. So I'm definitely intrigued. I like multi-point of view stories. It reminds me a lot of like Throne of Glass or Truth Witch. Any of those, I really enjoy multi POVs. And I like the fantasy setting. It's very interesting how these kingdoms like interact. It seems like they're like kind of like on top of each other almost. Like they're definitely and every kingdom seems to be falling. So I was right. I was right to guess like all the kingdoms are falling. They just don't quite know it yet. So apologies for the corrupt video feed, but there's my short review. Okay, back to the video. So it says jumping as a pigeon fluttered down beside my feet. As I was skimming over this, I read jumping as a penguin. Penguin, people, penguin. I don't think you're going to see a penguin jumping out at you at the street. To read. Oh no, you don't like it. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh. This is why I can't film any YouTube videos. Between you and the cats, I can't get anything done. Get up here. What are you trying to tell me? Loki came over earlier. You shouldn't need anything. Yeah. What is it? This is not ideal.
only on page 8. Spoiler alert. And there's just a massive, like, this girl who I don't even think I know her name. It might be Ruby. She's, like, witnessing a vampire fight between 2 different vampire clans. And there's no questions. Are vampires, like, are vampires, like, in this world normally? And is that why she's not questioning why this guy just ripped somebody else's throat out with his teeth? Or that they're using stakes as weapons? I'm very confused. I'm slightly confused. I mean, she's just, like, hiding in a corner watching this fight go down. But it seems to be, like, not that questionable. That there seem to be, like, vampires around murdering people. Because she called them pale skins. So are, like, vampires just a part of this world and I just don't know it yet? I feel like we just jumped straight into it, which is fine, but I'm very confused. So maybe so far it's not going well. I'll keep reading. I'm back. I think her name's Violet, not Ruby. Okay, one thing that I don't like is that right now, because they don't know her name, they're calling her Girly. Come on. No thanks. That is, like, of all the nicknames you could have chosen, Girly. No, I'm not here for it. So far, I can't tell you anything that I do like. So, but okay, again, I can't tell if, like, vampires are a normal occurrence in this world or not. And that does, like, bother me, because at the end of the first chapter, she said, like, he finds her, obviously, like, witnessing all of this bloodbath. And he says, "You're a feisty one, aren't you?" As he laughed, I caught sight of his upper canines, both perfectly white, and tapered to an unnatural point. Hunting, hunters. Something in my brain registered that this was not normal, not even close to normal. But just as quickly, rational thought dismissed the conclusion my mind was rapidly forming. What, like, do you know about vampires? Do you not? Are vampires normal? I need to know. Is this a normal occurrence? It's really bothering. I mean, we're 11 pages in. Like, should I not know this already? Like, spend a couple more pages, like, telling me what's up. Okay. All right. We'll keep going. We're on chapter 2. So I'm gonna keep. It's not looking grand. I'll just say that for whether or not I'm gonna keep reading this. But we'll see. Maybe I have 2 more chapters to change my mind. You guys. Okay, so I'm almost 100% positive that she does not know that vampires are a thing. Because she says, like, at one point, she's like, what are you? And, like, nobody's answering. Yet she's just witnessed these teenagers, they're teenagers apparently, kill, like, 30 men who I think were vampire hunters with their bare hands, essentially. And that's not questionable. So then at the end, like, we're nearing the end of, I think, chapter 2. And she said, she, like, is kidnapped by them at this point. Like, she's literally kidnapped by these teenage vampires. And I'm wondering if it's a reverse harem of some sort, because there's, like, 3 of them conveniently. So I'm wondering, is this reverse harem territory? But she's like, apparently they're running down the street. Like, these vampires are, like, dragging her down the street. And all of a sudden she's like, in the distance, I see a guy in a beige suit who works with my father. And he stares at me. And the police are with him, but then they just stop because they know that these guys, like, the police can't touch these guys. And it's like, what is happening? And then she goes, I had just witnessed the mass murder of 30 men in the center of London. I had been kidnapped by 6 fast and strong guys who did not seem to want to kill me yet. I did not know where the hell I was going, who the hell these people were, what the hell was going to happen, or how long it would take for someone to notice I was missing. Well, I think the guy who just I think they know you're missing. because the guy saw you. I have so many questions. I have as many questions as Violet has, and maybe that's what we're supposed to, like, maybe we are supposed to be questioning everything, because I'm questioning everything. I am so confused. It's just a lot. A lot has happened in 18 pages, and not a whole lot of, like, world building has occurred, and I'm realizing now how much I, like, kind of sort of need some of that. Like, I need to know, like, little things, like, do we know vampires are a thing? Do we not? How is it not something that you would, like, completely freak out over? If you witness this whole mass murder situation, first of all, that would be terrible, but to witness people do it with their mouths, would you not, like, go into, like, panic mode? I would be like, what? Did I somehow get teleported into a Shadowhunters novel? Because, ooh, I would be okay with that, but I would need to know. So, okay, well, I'm going to try to read this next chapter. We'll see. I can't do it. I can't do it. I tried. I really tried. This is a hard pass DNF for me, unfortunately. I'm sorry, but I can't, I physically cannot do it. Apparently, these are vampire princes. They're royalty. They went into this gothic house. I mean, quintessential, like, gothic vampire house. They drove up to this place. A servant comes out and was like, "Your Highnesses." And I'm like, stop it right now. Stop. And now they're like, you can't. Oh, Odin's got a toy. Hold on. So anyway, as I was saying, now they're telling her that she has to either become one of them, and she's like, one of what? You're a madman, a murderer. I don't want to be a So basically, it's like, become a vampire or you're gonna die. I can't read anymore. I tried to make it to chapter 4, and I can't. I read through about 25 pages, and it is just not for me. So, I am gonna move on to my next book at this point. We're tracking right as I thought we would be. The last of the 3 is Collateral Damage. So, I'm going to check this one out. I'm actually excited to read this book. So, like I said, I had heard really good things about it. And I've always wanted, like, if I could read a book that was, like, Thor related or, like, Winter Soldier related, but not, like, Marvel, just, like, pieces of the story, I'd be all into that. So, let's get started. This is already off to honestly a fantastic start. Essentially, we're following this girl named Meg, and she lives in the city. It would be like, if you're familiar with superhero movies like Marvel or DC, it would be like, what is it like to live in a world where superheroes are necessary, basically, and like, what's it like to be a normal citizen vibe, which is so funny to me, because like, you watch these like Marvel movies and you see their big giant final battles, and you think about like, what would it be like to be a pedestrian whose like car just got smashed? I mean, and that's essentially like what she lives through every day. And it's she does it in a very, I'm sure it's extreme, it would be very scary, but she's doing it in a more comical way. I mean, this girl has like a Go backpack in her car, and she knows these different, they're called supers. She knows their MOs, and is like, this one guy, she knows what he's about to do and like how he operates. And she's like, I'm not worried about the people underneath the billboard. I'm worried about me, because I know his MO. So I guess she knows like he's about to maybe fling the billboard. I'm not really sure. And it would like hit her car. So she's like getting her go bag that she has ready to go in the back seat, and is like frantically trying to get out of the way. And I mean, it is pretty like, wow, is this what it would be like to live in a world where that's a thing? So anyway. Okay, like here's a great example. She's like, I tumble out of the car and lunge for the sidewalk just as 3 reaches the falling metal. There's a weird moment of optimism where I wonder if maybe today he'll be different. Maybe today he'll just catch it and gently put it down on the ground like a normal, rational human. No show of power, no flashy stunts. But then he raises his fist and decks the absolute hell out of it. I mean, that's so true. It's like Thor wielding the hammer Mjolnir, or, you know, like Cap throwing his shield with no regard as to what's in the way, or Iron Man like throwing his suits everywhere. I mean, it is funny to think about this. When I dive past the closest tree, cover my organs with my backpack and clamp my eyes and mouth shut against the impending cloud of dust and debris. Cover my organs, that's great. So I guess they're like fighting a robot, like a giant robot, and there's a guy inside it like manning this robot. And she was like, I mean, come on guys, how did someone build a giant robot in this city without anyone noticing? If someone's getting 800 tons of metal delivered to their house, that needs to be red flagged. This is funny. This book is really comical. Okay, I just read the first 3 chapters of Collateral Damage, and I really liked it. It's really good so far. Like I said, I think it had really great ratings on Goodreads. I'll look it up and put it up here. But it's super interesting. It's I think this is more of like an indie book, because I've certainly never like seen anyone else talk about it before. I got it in a fake rate. And I'm curious to know if it's a series. I'm gonna do some more research into it because it is really good so far. It's very interesting. The premise, you know, like I said, we're following a girl named Meg, and she seems to be like more of an orphan type. I'm pretty sure at some point she was kind of on her own, and ended up kind of making her way. She has a job, she got her GED, and now she like kind of works at this little coffee shop to make ends meet. And she deals with what it's like to live in a city as a non-superhero, like as a person who has no superpowers. But people in the city like wreak havoc every day. So it's like, what would that life be like insurance wise, and driving a car, and like she has a titanium umbrella and a helmet in her backpack, and like just all of these funny kind of things. But it is serious. Like, what would you do in a situation if you lived in a big city and there were like Marvel superheroes running around and aliens were attacking every day? So it is like, it makes you think, and I like that about this book. But she's really dark and like dry humor, which I appreciate because I feel like I have the same type of humor. So far it's good. We haven't gotten like into like the meat of the actual story. Like I read the synopsis, and it seems like one of the supers actually gets murdered, or killed in action, but it was a very suspicious death. So somehow she's gonna kind of be involved in like the figuring out of like what happened and why and how and all of the questions, because the supers are like genetically, so there weren't always superheroes in this city. I think they had like they had pretty high crime, so they decided to like genetically alter people's DNA and make them into superheroes, and there seems to be 4 of them as of right now. They started with 1, and then they added 3 more. And it's funny because she was like, yeah, and then the crime rates like went down, but then these crazy people started building really elaborate like weird things in their backyard, so now we have like really weird crime. So anyway, it's a really entertaining book so far, and I definitely want to continue it. So there's that. Yay, we've read all 3. Let's recap. All right, friends, we have made it to the end of this video. So let's do a little recap of how things ended up scoring in the end. So I think we all know this was a DNF for me.
I would rate it like 1 stars. I mean, I can't rate it though because I DNF'd it. So, just not for me. Could not get into it really. Was just not. I think you saw. I'm not going to bash it any further than that. So, yeah, there's that. That was a DNF, as I suspected. Okay. Then first we read the Fallen Kingdoms book, and I did really, really like this. And I do want to continue it. I'm very intrigued so far. Don't love the plot point that I mentioned earlier. That was just not my favorite. That's just not my favorite hook in any story. So, but so far I am enjoying it, and I definitely want to continue it. So I will keep you posted on this one. And then I can't decide which one was my favorite. Either Fallen Kingdoms or Collateral Damage was definitely my favorite. This one made me laugh a lot more, but I think Fallen Kingdoms is more my speed in terms of what I normally read. This is a very like one-off book and not something I would pick up, I don't feel like. Granted, I think I probably liked it the most out of all 3 books. But Fallen Kingdoms aligns more with like what I would normally gravitate towards in a book and a story. This is funny and it's really intriguing, and it's a pretty fast read so far. So I definitely am excited to continue reading this one as well. So there's kind of where we landed. I think it aligned with pretty much how I felt. I don't know which one I will continue with first. I think it's going to be kind of mood-based because I am reading some other books right now. But thank you guys so much for watching this video and getting to this point and supporting my little channel. I appreciate you all being here, and I will see you in my next one.